Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a cycle, making the same promises to yourself year after year? You tell yourself, this is the year where I'm going to make massive changes. This time, I'm going to work out consistently, eat healthier, quit smoking, learn that new language, etc. But then a few weeks go by and somehow you end up right back where you started.
Oh no!
In today's video, I'm going to dive into one of the most powerful rules from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. And trust me, this one can change the way you approach success. So make sure to stick around because I'm going to share with you the secrets to lasting results. See, too often we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action. We put pressure on ourselves to make earth-shattering improvements that everyone will notice and talk about. And when we don't see immediate life-changing results, we get discouraged and fall back into old patterns. But what if success wasn't about radical transformation?
Nope.
What if it was about small, consistent actions that compound over time? The truth is, building better habits isn't about willpower or motivation. It's about strategy. So, how do you actually make lasting change? That's exactly what we're going to dive into. James Clear has answered all these questions in Atomic Habits, where he uncovers the science behind habits and offers a step-by-step guide to breaking bad routines and making good ones stick. This will change how you approach your day and teach you how to design habits that work for you rather than against you. So, if you're ready, let's explore how small adjustments can lead to extraordinary results. Part 1. Why tiny changes make a big difference. Imagine that you have an ice cube sitting on the table in front of you. The room is cold, and you can see your breath. The temperature is 25 degrees and the room begins to heat up. 26, 27, 28. The ice cube is still sitting on the table. 29, 30, 31, still nothing has happened. Then 32 degrees. The ice begins to melt. A 1-degree shift has unlocked a huge change. Breakthroughs don't happen instantly, they're built through small actions over time until they reach a tipping point. The same applies to habits. They may seem minor at first, but once they pass a critical threshold, they unlock new potential. Even small habit changes can shape our lives in ways we only recognize until we look back years later. In the end, you are the sum of your habits. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Here's how the math works out. 1% better every day for a year will compound to nearly 37 times better. On the other hand, 1% worse every day for over a year, you will decline nearly down to 0. Habits are a double-edged sword. Bad habits can bring you down just as easily as good habits can lift you up. But why is it so hard to build habits that last? We often expect progress to happen in a straight line. And when we don't see immediate, tangible results, we get discouraged and give up. This is known as the Valley of Disappointment. You might think, I've been running every day for a month. Why hasn't my body changed yet? Complaining about not achieving success despite putting in the effort is like complaining that an ice cube isn't melting after you've only heated it from 25 to 30 degrees. In order to make a meaningful difference, habits need to persist long enough to break through a plateau known as the plateau of latent potential, where all the magic happens, and people will call it an overnight success. Your work was not wasted, it was just being stored. What determines whether we stick with a habit long enough to survive the plateau of latent potential? The common belief suggests that the best way to achieve what we want in life is to set clear, actionable goals. We set goals for the grades we want to get in school, for the weights we want to lift in the gym, for the profits we want to earn in business. But the truth is, the results have very little to do with the goals we set, and nearly everything to do with the systems we follow. What's the difference between systems and goals? A goal is the result you want to accomplish. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. If you want better results, stop focusing solely on goals and start prioritizing systems. Does that mean goals are useless? Of course not. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. Think about it, both winners and losers share the same goals. So it's not the goal itself that makes the difference, but the system behind it. Imagine you have a messy room and you set a goal to clean it. If you don't change the habits that cause the clutter, it will soon become messy again, and you'll find yourself chasing the same outcome because you never change the system. So, achieving a goal only changes your life for the moment. To improve for good, you need to solve problems at the systems level. If you're struggling to change your habits, the problem isn't you, it's your system. Success isn't about reaching your goals, it's about building a system that supports them. Changing our habits is challenging for two reasons. 1. We try to change the wrong thing, and 2. We try to change our habits in the wrong way. There are 3 layers to behavior change. The first layer is changing outcomes. Most of the goals you set are associated with this level. The second layer is changing your process. Most of the habits you build are associated with this level. And the third layer is changing your identity. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases you hold are associated with this level. We tend to focus on what we want to achieve instead of focusing on who we want to become. The goal isn't to learn an instrument, it is to become a musician. The goal isn't to run a marathon, it is to become a runner. The more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. Each time you practice an instrument, you are a musician. Each time you go for a run, you are a runner. How to change your habits the right way? First, decide who you want to be. What do you want to stand for? What are your principles and values? Then you need to prove to yourself with small wins. So, how to build better habits? Habits form when a behavior is repeated often enough to become automatic. Every habit follows a 4-step process known as the habit loop. Cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue triggers a craving, which creates the motivation for a response. The response then leads to a reward, reinforcing the cycle and making the habit more likely to repeat. Here's an example. You get a notification on your phone. That's the cue. You feel the urge to check it, wondering if it's something important or exciting. That's the craving. You pick up your phone and open the app. That's the response. You satisfy your curiosity and feel a sense of connection or entertainment. That's the reward. Over time, this habit becomes automatic, and you check your phone whenever you hear a notification. The question is, how can we shape the habit loop to work to our advantage? This book offers a practical framework for building better habits. The 4 laws of behavior change. Let's explore the first law. Make it obvious. Have you ever gone through your day without thinking about the small things you do? Grabbing your phone first thing in the morning, scrolling mindlessly, or snacking without hunger? Most of our habits run on autopilot, and we don't even realize it. But here's the challenge. How can you change something you're not aware of? The first step to breaking bad habits or building better ones is awareness. A simple way to do this is by creating a habit scorecard. All you have to do is to list your daily routines from the moment you wake up to the time you go to bed and label each one as positive, negative, or neutral, based on whether it helps you become the person you want to be. Once you see your habits laid out in front of you, you might be surprised at how much of your day is shaped by unconscious patterns. That's how you're getting yourself to acknowledge the need for action. That can make all the difference. Now that you're aware of what needs to change, the next step is to start implementing new habits. Many people believe they lack motivation to do so, but in reality, what they're missing is clarity. For example, saying, "I will work out more," or "I will read more." Sounds like a goal, but it's too vague to create real change. Without a clear plan, it's easy to procrastinate or forget. To make habits stick, you need a specific when and where, which is where the implementation intention strategy comes in. Instead of relying on willpower, you create a simple, actionable plan by using this formula. I will behavior at time in location. Here's an example. I will work out for 30 minutes at 7 a.m. in my living room. You need to give your habits a time and place to exist in your daily routine. Another good way to build a new habit is by linking it to something you already do regularly, then stack your new behavior on top. It is called habit stacking, the formula goes. After I, current habit, I will, new habit. The idea is to create larger stacks by chaining small habits together. It may look like, after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds. After I finish eating dinner, I will put my plate directly in the dishwasher. After I put my dishes away, I will immediately wipe down the counter. Habit stacking works best when your cue is clear and easy to act on. The more specific your cue, the more likely you are to recognize the right moment and follow through with your new habit. The second law, make it attractive. If you want a behavior to happen more often, then you need to make it attractive. Habits work through a dopamine-driven feedback loop. Highly addictive behaviors such as drug use, junk food consumption, video gaming, and social media engagement are linked to increased dopamine levels. The same applies to fundamental habits like eating, drinking, and social interaction. The key insight about habits is that dopamine is released not just during moments of pleasure, but also in anticipation of them. We need to make our habits attractive because it is the expectation of a rewarding experience that motivates us to act. We take action when we anticipate a reward. The more satisfying the action, the more likely we are to repeat it until it forms a habit. How to make your habits more attractive? One effective strategy for building better habits is temptation bundling. By linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do. For example, if you love watching your favorite TV show but struggle to stay motivated to work out, you can combine the two by only allowing yourself to watch the show while exercising. Over time, your brain will associate the less enjoyable task with the rewarding experience, making it easier to stick to the habit. You can even combine temptation bundling with the habit stacking strategy. The formula is, after current habit, I will habit I need. After habit I need, I will habit I want. If you want to watch YouTube videos but you need to stretch more, after I finish my morning coffee, I will do 10 minutes of stretching. After I do 10 minutes of stretching, I will watch my favorite YouTube videos. However, habit formation isn't just about what we do. It's also shaped by the people around us. The role of family and friends in shaping your habits. One of the strongest human desires is the need to belong, and this deep-rooted instinct has a powerful influence on our behaviors. We naturally adopt the habits of the people and cultures around us, often without even realizing it. In fact, we tend to imitate the habits of three key groups. The close, we are most influenced by those around us. Proximity shapes our habits, so one of the best ways to build positive habits is to join a community where your desired behavior is the norm. The many. When we're unsure how to act, we look to the group for guidance. If a habit aligns with social expectations, it becomes much easier to adopt. When a behavior helps us fit in, it feels more natural. The powerful. People seek status, respect, and admiration. We often model our behavior after successful individuals, as we believe their actions contribute to their success. If a habit earns us recognition or approval, we are more likely to embrace it. By surrounding yourself with people who already practice the habits you want to adopt, you make change feel natural and rewarding, increasing the likelihood of long-term success. How to find and fix the causes of your bad habits. The habits we develop, both good and bad, are often shaped by the way we perceive them. Just as we can use strategies like temptation bundling to make positive habits more attractive, we can also reframe our thinking to overcome the negative associations that hold us back. Habits feel more appealing when we link them to positive emotions, and we can use this to our advantage instead of letting it work against us. By shifting our mindset, we can make difficult habits feel more rewarding and easier to sustain. For example, exercise. Instead of seeing it as exhausting, view it as a way to get stronger and improve. Finance. Rather than thinking of saving money as a sacrifice, focus on the freedom it will give you in the future. Meditation. When your mind wanders, see it as an opportunity to practice refocusing instead of getting frustrated. These small mindset shifts won't magically change your habits overnight, but they can reshape the way you experience them, making it easier to stay committed in the long run. The third law, make it easy. If you want to build a habit, focus on repeating it rather than doing it perfectly. You don't need to plan every detail, just start practicing. The main point of the third law is simple. Keep showing up and putting in the reps. So, how long does it take to form a new habit? Before answering the question, there's an important fact to understand. The amount of time you have been performing a habit is not as important as the number of times you have performed it. At first, a habit takes a lot of effort and focus. After some practice, it gets easier but still needs attention. With enough repetition, it becomes automatic, and you can do it without thinking. Every time you repeat an action, you strengthen the neural pathway linked to that habit. Just practicing it regularly is one of the most important steps in making it stick. It doesn't really matter how long it takes for a habit to become automatic. What matters is that you take the actions you need to take to make progress. People naturally choose the easiest option when deciding between two similar choices. For example, instead of cooking a meal from scratch, many people order takeout because it requires less effort. Every action takes energy. The more energy it needs, the harder it is to do. A big goal like 100 push-ups a day can feel easy at first, but quickly becomes tiring. On the other hand, doing just one push-up is simple and takes little effort, making it easier to stick with the habit. The harder a habit is, the more resistance you'll face in sticking to it. That's why it's important to make habits easy enough that you can do them, even when you're not feeling motivated. The idea behind the third law, make it easy, is not to only do easy things, it is to make it as easy as possible in the moment to do things that pay off in the long run. How to achieve more with less effort. The central idea is to create an environment where doing the right thing is as easy as possible. Much of the battle of building better habits comes down to ending ways to reduce the friction associated with our good habits and increase the friction associated with our bad ones. How can we design a world where it's easy to do what's right? There are many ways to prime your environment so it's ready for immediate use. Want to draw more? Keep your drawing tools on your desk where you can easily grab them. Want to exercise? Lay out your workout gear in advance. Want to eat healthier? Prep and store fruits and veggies ahead of time for quick, convenient snacks. Redesign your life so the actions that matter most are also the actions that are easiest to do. How to stop procrastinating by using the 2-minute rule. Each day is filled with decisive moments, small choices that determine how the rest of your time unfolds. Whether it's choosing between takeout or cooking, driving or biking, or studying versus gaming, these turning points shape your habits. By mastering these moments, you can set yourself up for success. One of the best ways to do this is by making new habits as easy as possible to start. When building a habit, aim for a 2-minute version, a small, simple action that gets you moving in the right direction. Instead of setting an overwhelming goal, break it down. Read before bed becomes read one page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Study for class becomes open my notes. To build lasting habits, focus on mastering the habit of showing up before aiming for the end goal. Start with the smallest version of a habit and use the 2-minute rule to make it easy. You can't improve a habit that doesn't exist, so you need to standardize before you optimize. Once you've mastered the first 2 minutes, gradually work your way up, focusing on each small step. The secret here is to always stay below the point where it feels like work, to ensure it's easy and consistent before making it more complex. The fourth law, make it satisfying. We are more likely to repeat a behavior when the experience is satisfying. Feelings of pleasure message to your brain, "This feels good. Do this again next time." Pleasure teaches your brain that a behavior is worth remembering and repeating. On the other hand, if something isn't enjoyable, we're less likely to do it again. The cardinal rule of behavior change is, what is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. To get a habit to stick, you need to feel immediately successful, even if it's in a small way. One of the most satisfying feelings is seeing your progress. Imagine marking an X on a calendar every time you complete your habit. That streak? It's proof that you're showing up. And the longer the streak, the more motivated you'll feel to keep it going. The goal is simple. Keep your habit streak alive. Each day you complete your habit, add another X. But hey, life happens. If you miss a day, don't stress. But one important rule is to never miss twice. Get back on track the next day. However, sometimes tracking your progress isn't enough. Because let's be real, bad habits have a way of sneaking back in. So, how do you really make good habits stick and break the bad ones for good? An accountability partner can change everything. When we know someone is watching, we naturally step up our game. That's why having an accountability partner can be so powerful. If you commit to working out with a friend, skipping the gym isn't just about letting yourself down. It's about letting them down too. And we hate disappointing others. Now, imagine putting your commitment in writing. A habit contract makes your promises public and the consequences real. You want to break a habit? There's a cost. Maybe it's donating money to a cause you don't support or losing privileges you care about. Suddenly, that bad habit isn't so tempting anymore. The truth is, we all care what others think, so why not use that to our advantage? When someone else is holding you accountable, you're far more likely to stay on track. Knowing that someone else is watching you can be a powerful motivator. We've covered a lot of powerful strategies for building better habits, so let's do a quick recap to reinforce the key takeaways. Why tiny changes make a big difference. Tiny changes, big results. Small, consistent improvements compound over time, leading to significant growth. The plateau of latent potential and valley of disappointment. Progress takes time. Persistence through early setbacks is key for breakthroughs. Systems over goals. Focus on systems for consistent progress, as goals alone don't ensure lasting change. Identity-based habits. Sustainable change comes from focusing on who you want to become, not just your goals. The habit loop. Habits are formed through a loop. Cue, craving, response, reward, making them automatic over time. The 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious. Increase awareness of your habits. Make it attractive. Link habits to positive feelings. Make it easy. Simplify the habit to get started. Make it satisfying. Reinforce habits with immediate rewards. For the first law, make it obvious. Build awareness with a habit scorecard. This helps you see how much of your day is shaped by unconscious patterns by listing your daily routine and label each one as positive, negative, or neutral. Make a clear plan with the implementation intentions. Instead of vague goals like "I will work out more," set a specific time and place using this formula. I will behavior at time, in location. Build on what you already do with habit stacking. A powerful way to form new habits is to attach them to existing ones by using this simple structure. After I, current habit, I will, new habit. If you want to build better habits, start by becoming aware of your existing ones, create a clear plan, and stack new habits onto things you already do. The second law, make it attractive. Dopamine and habit formation. Habits form through a dopamine-driven feedback loop, not just from pleasure itself, but from the anticipation of reward. The more attractive a habit feels, the more likely we are to repeat it. Temptation bundling. Increase habit appeal by linking something you need to do with something you want to do. The formula goes, after current habit, I will habit I need. After habit I need, I will habit I want. Social influence, the power of community. We naturally adopt habits from 3 groups. The close. We mimic habits of those around us. Surround yourself with people who already embody your desired habits. The many. We conform to group norms, making behavior change easier when it aligns with social expectations. The powerful. We imitate successful people as behaviors linked to status and respect become more attractive, changing the way you see habits. Difficult habits become more attractive when we associate them with positive outcomes instead of focusing on struggle. By adjusting how we perceive habits and leveraging social influence, we make positive behaviors more appealing and sustainable. The third law, make it easy. Focus on repetition, not perfection. The number of times you repeat a habit matters more than how long you've been doing it. With enough repetition, habits become automatic. The law of least effort. The more effort a habit requires, the harder it is to stick with. Make it as easy as possible to do the right thing. Reduce friction for good habits. Make the good habits easier by setting up your environment for success. Keep the things you need within easy reach and prepare in advance to remove obstacles. The 2-minute rule. Start small. A habit should take less than 2 minutes to begin. First, master the habit of showing up, then build from there. The 4th law, make it satisfying. The cardinal rule of behavior change. What is rewarded is repeated. What is punished is avoided. Good habits often feel hard at first but lead to great results. Bad habits feel good in the moment but come with long-term consequences. To make good habits stick, we need immediate rewards, even small ones. The power of habit tracking. Seeing progress keeps us motivated. Marking an X on a calendar or checking off a task creates visual proof of success. Remember, don't break the chain, and if you miss a day, never miss twice. The power of accountability. When someone is watching, we perform better. An accountability partner makes skipping a habit feel like letting them down, not just yourself. The habit contract. Put your commitment in writing. Set up real consequences for breaking the habit, like donating money to a cause you dislike. When a habit has real stakes, you're more likely to follow through. The secret to lasting results is simple. Never stop making small improvements. It's incredible what you can build if you just don't stop. The real power of atomic habits lies in their ability to compound and create extraordinary outcomes. Remember, success doesn't have a finish line. It's a system you refine every single day. Keep going, keep improving, and watch your remarkable results unfold. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you'll try out some of the strategies to make good habits stick. If you found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow.